I'm near Winchester Hill in Hampshire. A very ordinary country scene. But, as you can see, there is a blot on the landscape. This week we're investigating crop circles. This is Eastfield, near Avebury, scene of many large and baffling crop formations. I went to meet Paul Weigay, Director of the Independent Research Centre for Unexplained Phenomena. Hello, how's it going then? Oh, good. Thank you. So, Paul, what is a crop circle?
Ooh, good question. Basically, it's a bit of a not quite the right description actually, because obviously they're not always circles, but the original one started off as just a simple circle in the field, and since then they've grown to elaborate shapes. But basically, it's any sort of irregular marking in a field that's not sort of accidental wind damage or random. So it's some sort of a symmetrical shape or bars or circles, crescents and things.
If a formation is obviously a hoax, what gives it away?
I mean, some you can get to and you can immediately tell that there's muddy footprints or there's damaged crop, especially because when they're formed they're predominantly in the night, so there's dew and there's damp and it's been raining. So obviously if you get there as soon as possible afterwards, you can see if there's muddy footprints or there's signs of entry. And also in what we call the sort of unknown or genuine ones, you get perfect bending, so the crop isn't actually snapped or bent over, it's just completely 90 degrees or even further with no damage at all, which is virtually impossible to do, especially in plants like oilseed rape, which is the yellow plants, purely because that's like celery, it's a hollow stalk and it just snaps after about 30 degrees. And we look for different signs like this. And also you find the single strands that have been drawn in from the outside crop. And obviously if you're just pushing a board along or a roller, you're going to cause quite a lot of damage, and it's going to be quite messy.
Back in 1996, a large formation the shape of a double helix made the national news. What do you make of that?
That's quite an interesting one actually. I was actually quite impressed with that, and I got some electromagnetic anomalies in it. There was a very strong signal, exactly on 1500 megahertz, 1.5 gigahertz, right down the centre of the formation, good 100 times stronger than outside the formation. And I've actually got some quite sensitive metering equipment, and it actually dropped off down to zero in about 50 to 100 feet outside the formation, and you could bring the meter in, and as you get into the crop circle the meter went right up, and it was such a strong signal that it was actually audible. If you tuned in an audio receiver into the frequency, it was like a crackling hum exactly on, and you could turn the dial. It's a digital radio I've got, and you can turn it to sort of 0.1 kilohertz either side, and there was absolutely nothing. So it was a very precise signal. And the only thing we could think of, if we were trying to rationalise it, is it was some sort of military transmission or some sort of calibration signal or something that was being transmitted. But then the mystery was still, why was it only localised in the actual crop circle, which was a bit of a puzzle.
What exactly does this instrument do?
It's basically very sensitive, I suppose what you'd call a frequency sniffer. It basically picks up, it will detect a frequency emission within about 100 to 200 yards and basically display it on a digital readout. It's a sort of calibration equipment that radio amateurs and people use if they want to detect radio signals and things.
And you can actually find this in the formation, in the crop, these signals?
Yeah, it will actually lock on, and there's actually a little signal strength meter on the equipment, so you can actually, if you detect something, you can see how strong the signal is. And if you've got a radio scanner, you can actually plug the frequency detector into a radio scanner, and it will actually tune the scanner to the frequency, so you can see if there's anything you can listen to there.
What theories have you developed on the origins of crop circles over the years?
Ooh, there's quite a few theories. Probably the most popular one, which I think it's probably because it's a theory people like, and they can, with the science fiction programs and things, they like linking them to aliens or some sort of extraterrestrial entity. Although from a personal perspective, although I would like to believe in UFOs, and I'm personally interested in UFOs as a side to the subject, there hasn't been any evidence to date to link UFOs with crop circles. There have been the odd sighting around crop circle sites, but you could argue that if there are aliens or UFOs visiting the planet, they could be as mystified as the rest of us, and they could be going to research it. There's no actual correlation saying, well, this was seen and then the crop circle formed.
So there might be no intelligence behind these at all. They could be a purely natural phenomena.
That's another theory, that it's some sort of atmospheric vortex or wind. The problem I personally have with that is a lot of them are very regular, and they occur in sort of flat fields or where there's no nearby terrain that could possibly cause some sort of whirlwind or atmospheric condition. And also, if you discount perhaps some of the more elaborate ones being hoaxed, there have been shapes that are known shapes, things like the Mandelbrot set and the DNA double helix type shape, which you could argue are mathematical shapes that wouldn't really appear by random wind. Now obviously that gives it some sort of intelligence, so you then get back to well, if this is not hoaxed, then what is it? It's obviously something with intelligence. And of course a lot of people just say, well, obviously those ones are hoaxed. But we have actually got detected interesting anomalies in some of those elaborate ones.
The thing that puzzles me is there's no undo button when making a crop circle. There are no mistakes in these things at all. I'll let you make your own mind up whether these things are non-terrestrial or not.